Welcome to the Redvee TV Instant Reaction, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2024 season, as Saints fall to a 2024 defeat.
Yes.
Hi Peter.
Hi there. Yes, thanks for having me back for the first defeat of the season. Maybe I'm the jinx. Maybe it was just Salford's time.
44 years.
Yeah.
And listen, 44 years, and fair play to them. They've made a tremendous racket in that away end tonight.
Yeah, and listen, they're entitled to, walk past and celebrate tonight, as we can hear them approaching just now. So we've just got to have to wear it. 44 years is a long, long time. So they're entitled to enjoy it. So fair play to them. Fair play to them.
If you'd said after the first...
Well done, guys. Congratulations.
If you'd said after the first 10-15 minutes that we were going to lose that game, I probably wouldn't have believed it. We were dominant in that opening quarter, and we probably didn't get the rewards we should have. Again, Salford's scrambling defence kept us out. When we do get over the line and we score a couple of tries, goal kicking hits.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We started very, very well. 2 good tries. Missed the kicks, obviously. Mark Sneed is an excellent goal kicker, and that proved the difference in the end. But I don't think we took enough of our opportunities early in the game. Salford did defend very, very, very well. They're one of these teams that'll either stay with you or they'll fall apart. And tonight we had the good Salford.
If you told us in pre-season, after the pre-season friendly, that they'd beat us in Super League this year, I genuinely wouldn't have believed you. But they've turned it round and they're having a good start. I'll go back to the goal kicking again. Hull KR lost last night, essentially, because they didn't kick the goals. We've struggled over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and listen, people say we need a goal kicker. Well, it's not simple. You can't simply buy a goal kicker and slot him in your team. Somebody in our 17 has got to step up and kick the goals. If it's not going to be Tommy, if it's not going to be Percy, does Lewis Dodd take over the reins now? He's coming back into form and he's looking confident. He slotted one over at the end. Might be an idea. The big call in the game, which probably turned it at 14-6, was the decision to send Mark Percival off from the field. It wasn't high. Ormond Royd is knocked on, dropped the ball. Percival's gone and collided with him, smashed into him.
It's one of those, from my own personal point of view, it's one, and it sounds like a cop-out, but I'll need to see it again.
I've watched replays of it. I put it on my phone to look at it on the Sky Go. It's not high. He doesn't wrap, but he hasn't got hold of the ball, so there's nothing to wrap. Yeah. The question is, can he pull out of that tackle? But even if he doesn't, does it deserve a red card?
Well, that's the thing. There's been a lot of criticism the first few weeks about soft red cards and then some things that have been let go by the referees. The biggest criticism I'll have tonight is there was a very obvious obstruction, the tackle before, where Salford broke down our right edge, which I'll also come back to. That should have been picked up on a Saints penalty, and then none of that happens. But we've got to then recover better. Personally, he doesn't wrap. If the referee thinks he's led with his shoulder, who knows? But the problem is,
if there had just been called a penalty on the field and nothing else, would there have been much complaint? I don't think so. Yellow, again, no complaint potentially, but a red to decide a game. We and Kev were talking in recent weeks and basically said, how do you win a game in Super League? You stay in the wrestle, you stay within 10-12 points, and you wait till somebody else gets sent off on the opposition team, and then you take your opportunities.
Well, possibly, obviously that did have a material impact on the outcome, although I would say a couple of the Salford tries, even though they had a man advantage, were down to our poor defending, our poor reads, our sloppy tackling, which has not been the Saints' way in the last number of years. We have odd games where we switch off, and tonight, in the last kind of 15 minutes, that's what happened, and that's not on the referee, that's not on Salford being a little bit grubby, which I don't blame them. I'd want us to do that. That's on us. So we need to wear that. We need to wear this defeat. We need to look at the fact that at 20 points to 12, we should have shut up shop. We should have completed sets. I think a couple of sets after they scored, we knocked on, and the next 2 sets, that's on us. We dropped a ball that led to them making it 20-18. That's on us. 3-4 missed tackles on the last try. That's on us.
We still had an opportunity right at the end as well. Yeah. Early in the tackle count, Alex stretching for the line, knocks on. We've got tackles in the bag. Yeah. You've still got a chance to win that game. Yeah. Another big call that goes against us just after Salford take the lead. or was it Salford? Sorry, before Salford took the lead in that set, we kick long. James Bell goes in, produces a tremendous hit 5 metres off the Salford line. Salford player gets up, clearly knocks on the play of the ball, and it gets given against us. And you can't legislate for decisions like that. Salford may well point to the fact that they don't believe that one that led to our tries when it was given as a forward pass. They'll say it evens out. It just feels like the decisions that did go against us, Salford then made count.
Well, they did, and that's the thing to remember. They took advantage, and let's be honest, we were lucky a couple of times as well when they threw long passes out wide. They got down our flank, both our flanks, and it was only some good cover tackles that stopped them perhaps having a more handsome victory. But when you get into the last few minutes, you start to think we're almost there. But you can hear the Salford fans are still delighted tonight. So fair play to them. Listen, they've waited 44 years. Some of them wouldn't even have been born the last time they won.
Mr. Pender wasn't born last time Salford won here. Yeah. He's not here this evening, and he may well be dead by the time the next one happens.
Well, that's
if it's 44 years,
well, if it's 40,
you go before you're 88.
If it's 44 years, that certainly will be, and I certainly want to be. I'll be 94 by that time. But
I'll clip that for him.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be delighted with that cheery thought.
Right. Before we get on to positives, because there are some there tonight for us. Mm-hmm. Our right edge defence, and Wonga Blake, and he's going to be a topic for discussion. I will start this by saying it is very, very early days for him.
Yes.
But he still doesn't quite look fit enough, and people can argue that he's not had a pre-season. Yeah. But he's been here 6 weeks and he's played 2 or 3 games now. He still looks hands on his knees quite a lot. Defensively, I don't think he's quite there. I don't think he offers us that much an attack at the moment from what we've seen on the field. At this moment in time, if we've got our full complement in the back line, I don't think he actually gets in there.
I would probably agree at this stage, and obviously the caveat has to be stated, and it can't be stated enough. It's early days for the guy. We don't want to hang anyone out to dry. This wasn't down to one guy. I don't think, again, I'm not hanging individuals out. We mentioned Wonga didn't have a great game tonight. I don't think Cyril had a great game tonight, but that's unusual. That's very unusual. We looked a bit, we didn't know whether to go forward or sit off when they were carrying the ball down that side, and that indecision led to them getting some half breaks, getting their shoulders through the tackle, stepping back inside, hit and spin and made another 10 metres. I think perhaps they don't know each other's game quite yet.
And it has been a disjointed backline in recent weeks with injuries and players moving round. It is very early days. Mark Percival may well see a ban next week, so Wonga's going to be in again.
I think that's
but we need to. But we've signed him because we want to see more from him. He's on a year's deal. Yeah. He's going to have to show a lot more and get up to speed quickly because we need him to get up to speed quickly.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll probably know that himself. I dare say he will be, with probably the rest of the team, very disappointed. Not everyone had their best game tonight. I think that's fair to say. Talking about a positive, I want to obviously commend Lewis Dodd. He's been getting big raps the last few weeks, and I thought he was tremendous tonight, taking on line, not just his tries, but
he was the positive, the real positive tonight.
Yeah, the way he's going about his game. His variety of kicking, taking on the line, not just the tries, but
it's playing what he sees as well.
Yeah, and he's got that in his locker. He is a really, really good prospect.
It looks like that little burst of pace is coming back as well. We talked about
it. It's absolutely freezing cold.
Come here, Peter.
Oh, thank you very much. I thought you'd never offer.
We talked about it so much last season, getting over that Achilles injury that he had. Yeah. That he'd lost potentially that yard. Well, had he lost the yard of pace, or did he not quite have the confidence? But with a full pre-season behind him, he looks like he's confident in his body again, and he's taking the line on. And again, he carried other injuries last season, but tonight, his last try especially, just dropping the shoulder and going for the gap and seeing it and completing it, and that's the real positive moving forward for me.
Oh, absolutely, because it makes Saints such a different threat. If we're going to do different things, come to tackle 3, 4 and 5. They don't know if Dodd's going to run, he's going to put a dink through or over the top, and that's great, and it's great to see him have the confidence. I think perhaps that maybe was some of the reasons why some of the last tackle plays last season were a bit more simplified to let him get back in. I don't know if I'm totally off beam with that.
Well, I was reading Aaron Barrow's piece today, and It was basically what Martin Harvey had said on one of our instant reactions last season, where the halves have been split and it wasn't working. We've gone away from that this year. Obviously, Lewis has got the freedom to go either side, and he'll have Wellesby playing one side, and Johnny Lomax playing the other, and it seems to be working.
Yes.
I'm quite confident that our attack will get. It's getting better. Yeah. We're playing what we see. It's a little bit more off the cuff. That will improve. Listen, if Mark Purcell stays in the field tonight, we're seeing a comfortable win.
I think that's probably, even the most die-hard Salford fan would probably agree that was a big turning point. But
you take your chances.
Yeah, going into the last 5 minutes, we still led, albeit by 2 points. And the winning try, Salford will be delighted with it, as they're entitled to be. But down the narrow side, that close to the touchline, we should not have conceded that score. It's not very often that we're critical of the Saints' defence, but I think that's what caused it tonight. The Atkin try under the sticks as well, brought it back to 2018. That was crucial. If we'd gone another 5 minutes or so, still with a 2-score lead, then perhaps
you probably win that game tonight if you haven't got Mark Sneed kicking goals on the opposition.
Well, that's the thing. Just to hark back, that reminds me. You mentioned obviously Hulkier lost because the goal kicking. I would point out Warrington missed as many, if not more, kicks last night.
Is it a dying art, Peter?
I think so. There's a lot of kickers at the moment that are not perhaps frontline kickers. Look at Hulkier. They don't know how to have a frontline kicker. It's their hooker who's coming off for 20 minutes every game. And when he was off, James Batchelor missed a couple of kicks, and that proved crucial. Obviously Warrington have had their problems, we've had their problems, but I mean, Lewis Dodd's kicked plenty of goals for Saints, as has Percy, as has Tommy, as has Johnny Lomax. You know, we've got guys there that can kick goals.
I do think we need to say tonight the wind was swirling, brutal, especially in the first half.
Well, you've seen
and,
that.
And people who were watching on TV probably didn't realise just like how much it was holding up in the wind. Salford had the advantage of it first half, and we were letting everything bounce. We tended to get the advantage of it second half. And listen, Mark Sneed's going to take advantage of that, as he did.
In fairness, Mark Sneed, he seems ageless. I thought he didn't do a lot of spectacular stuff for Salford tonight, but everything he did made an impact. He's kicking goals, 2 belters off the touchline, which ultimately were the difference. A lot of his bombs, which, you know, got up like a corkscrew, and I think that he kicked them deliberately about 5 metres short, so be it Wellesby, Benison, Tommy, weren't sure whether to attack it or hold back, and putting that kind of indecision in their minds was different, and that's what we didn't do. A lot of our kicks went straight to their players. They very, very rarely hit them short, so they bounced. We didn't get that, and that's where Mark Sneed, I think, was in his element, and probably Salford's key man tonight.
We felt a bit stiff.
We felt a bit.
There we are. There's
is the view from the background.
I
don't think we quite felt a bit. Listen, I said at 14-6. This is a big 15 minutes. We're going to have to do this tough.
Yeah.
I thought 26 going up 26 was a big try, and I thought that might be enough.
Yeah.
We didn't take the opportunities to go for goal potentially when we could have as well, just to stretch that lead, just to dampen any sign of a comeback.
Yes.
I'm just exasperated that we've lost that game.
I know it's
frustrating.
It is.
And every time I've seen again, I go back to Percival's red card. I just don't want to be seeing that as a red in the game.
And I think, obviously, I've not seen it again. I'm not need to see it again. And maybe I'll look at it and think, well, could he have pulled out? Was it necessary that he collided?
Soft.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones where, if he this time again, they've already knocked on.
If the Salford players don't complain.
Possibly.
It doesn't even get looked at on the screen.
Possibly, we don't know what the video ref or what the touch judge is saying, in the mics. That's one thing we really don't know. But just to go back to Salford's approach, throughout the game, they were spinning the ball wide. They got a lot of, and when you do that, when it went to 20 points to 6, I said to the people I'm standing with, it's either going to go one or two ways. They'll spin it wide. They'll get an overlap. They'll make lots of meters, and it'll work for them. Or, as they did for a short time, they threw some forward passes. They threw passes that weren't on, and it stopped them. But once they regathered that and got their game heads back on, they were causing us nothing but problems, and they were getting down the flanks. And, actually, it was actually incredible that we're still in leading with 5 minutes to go.
I'll tell you what did get me. Every time a decision went against Salford, Ryan Brealey went for a cry, screaming, ranting at the referee. the minute we complained after the non-knock on from after James Bell's big hit, he pings us and walks us 10. No problem if it's a sense and you've pinged us 10. Fair enough. It's got to work both ways.
Well, that's what you want. As a general rule,
especially when it's so vocal and visible as Salford's players crying away. I thought Ryan Brealey was asking for extra complimentary tickets. Imagine the anger there.
Yeah, I think it was if they're throwing their arms up, that's a very obvious form of dissent, and you do want it applied equally across both teams. We don't know exactly what was said though. I'll caveat that. There may have been some fruity language. We don't know. That's the thing. That only the referee and the players involved will be able to kind of confirm or otherwise. But I'm just disappointed that it's the last two Salford tries for me, and I think it's very unsaints-like. They didn't have to do a great deal to score them. They didn't. They were too easy, and that's the thing. I think Wello will be really annoyed about.
Okay, here's next question then. Did we Alex went off injured towards the end of the first half. He had like a bit of a knock. He's obviously managed to come back on for the last 5-6 minutes. Could we have reintroduced him back into proceedings earlier just to settle things if he was obviously able to do minutes?
In hindsight,
we missed him.
In hindsight, we probably, especially when it went to 2012, we could have done with Big Al's carries up the middle to get us more metres, perhaps to get us 6 against. I think if he's got himself a knock, I think what it says to me is we didn't want to use him unless we absolutely had to. But I think even when it went to 2018, at that point we probably had to get us some go forward. So we were finishing sets deep in their half, and maybe getting some 6 against and penalties because of him, Big Al, getting over the gain line, getting through the ruck and them lying on top.
Is there a potential that we're looking ahead? So obviously Al's come off with a knock. Obviously we have got Leeds away next week, but the Cup the week after. If you get a Wigan, you're potentially looking at next Friday and thinking, do you know what, Wembley's important. Anybody who's got any sort of knock, you potentially leave out against Leeds next week.
Well, that's the thing. It's we've lost the game. Perhaps we might not make too many changes, and apart from enforced ones, one of which will probably be Percy, would imagine.
Obviously, you've got Conrad will come straight back in.
Connie will come straight back in. Hopefully, Matty might be fit as well, which would be a good boost to have him back as well. But we don't know any other charges that may magically appear come Monday and Tuesday, so we'll await that with interest. But listen, it's a sore one tonight, especially. I'll take the blame. That's my first game of the season, first defeat of the season. So I'm the jinx.
But there's real positives tonight.
Yes.
New bobble hats.
Lovely. Well, it's a very nice hat. Yeah, you as a man once said, you wear it well.
I would have said it's late to be launching new bobble hats in March, but it must be the coldest night I've ever experienced here. Well, not quite.
No. It is cold. I mean, when you've got a Scotsman admitting that he's shivering, then you know the temperature's dropped a wee bit. But
do you know what? Launch a bobble hat and I will buy.
Yes, but listen, we're just going to have to wear it. Well done, Salford. They played the game that was in front of them. They took advantage of us being down to 12. They took advantage of the extra space out wide. They took advantage of Saints' sloppy defence. They moved the ball around. They didn't win it by grinding us down. They won it by playing rugby. So you have to, I was going to say, take your hat off, but it's too cold for that. So Salford fans, forgive us.
Yeah, I will.
Well done.
And I will finish by saying I was actually very, very impressed with the Salford following tonight. They never shut up.
I thought their fans were tremendous. They usually are. I mean, I think they're a very, very vocal, passionate fan base. And if I wasn't a Saints fan tonight, obviously everyone else having a good laugh at our expense. And fair enough, we do it to others. And I'd be delighted otherwise for Salford ending a horrendous losing run here. They're long overdue. There's a couple of famous ones where we've broken their hearts. There's one in 2019 where we come back for 30-16 down to score at the last minute. The Matty Smith drop goal, we've given them a few sore noses at times, so they're probably due this. So fair play.
Right. If you've got to the end of the video and you haven't bought tickets for the Redvee Forum, which is a week on Monday, the 18th of March at Ruskin Drive, Personal Suite, please get in touch very quickly. James Bell, Moses and by Noah Stevens on the panel, hosted by Mike Bennett. Drop me a message over the weekend. There are very few tickets remaining, and we need to sort out the catering numbers as well, so I might just shut the book.
Very few tickets remaining, I like that. Attention to detail, lovely.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. and we'll catch you very, very soon for the next episode of Redvee TV.